Hello everybody and welcome back for game number 2 of our MCOM Iron and Plat tournament. Now, we have just finished up our first one where Knights took a pretty slight victory. It was a very close game, back and forth, as we're loading into our second now. Draft up and ready as our bans are coming through, so we're going to jump straight over to it. Right now, Zeri and Jinx already being banned away, as we saw last game, where 3 ADCs were banned away in an attempt to put the opposition in an unlikely and uncomfortable position. Once again here, joined by 6K. How's it going, mate?
Good. I was there over the break, just had a drink of water, didn't do much. I've seen the same drafts, same bans, it worked last game, why not go for it again, I feel. The Orianna ban, you just gotta ban that. Feeling?
Yeah, we've seen the Orianna, it kind of wreaked havoc, didn't it? Also, I'd like to remind everybody too that the predictions will be coming up in just a moment. So please go down and chat, smash them, and look, I'm going to say, put every single point you have down in this one. You may have lost them all in the last predictions, but either way, you probably get 80 to 100 back. Put it in and, if you put in the underdogs, maybe you'll see yourself making a little bit more than you bargained for. Finally, our picks coming through. Not surprised to see the Vi now being locked in as it's matched with Caitlyn. Oh, no.
Caitlyn?
Oh, no. Oh, you probably know 6K as an ADC player how annoying this is.
Yeah, I don't play Caitlyn much, so I don't actually know, but Caitlyn is an interesting pick. I feel like it's trying to do a similar thing to the Varus. My worry is that at this level of play, it feels much harder to get this Caitlyn snowball you want. But Caitlyn Morg, tried and true combo, seen a bit less in recent years because Cait Luck's more common, but you get one Q, you trap them, and they should just die or be forced out of lane. Also more good into Vi, you could say. So I think that might be another big reason we're seeing this.
It is a really frustrating lane, though, one I haven't seen in a while. So, Caitlyn Morgana, they have the ability to get that Q, get the trap down, and then lock down the enemy bot lane. Aphelios now getting locked in with his lane partner, Messi, who also has had a particularly high pick rate and wasn't banned out in this banning phase.
Yeah, Milio, quite good. Give extra range to Aphelios. Actually means that Aphelios will be able to outrange Caitlyn while he has the green gun, I believe. Which is kind of terrifying as a Caitlyn lane if you ever get outranged. The Volibear, we saw, it's good, got buffs, but other than that, I think the important thing is Volibear's a bit odd into Milio. Because it's going to be much harder to get on top of them. You can ult, but it is a top thing we've seen top play before. Really good lane prior, it's just Volibear top. This is almost certainly not going to the jungle.
Yeah, and on top of that too, we're getting Set banned out, matched with a Sejuani, and I'm really keen. You said it's a Volibear top, so how are we going to see it get matched?
I think, so what we've seen typically in the past, at least what we've seen teams do, is you just pick a tank and you go, we're going to lose some top lane, but we can also just turn it into a better scaling pick, because Volibear doesn't scale well. You don't really have a way to get onto that enemy team. Your ult is really on cooldown because it has to be to stop it being busted for tower diving. And so you either cut your losses there, or maybe you try and fight them, but I think there's so few champs that can actually try to fight him early, or that can try to get lane prior, that I suspect we might just see Poppy banned. Maybe we just see the Malphite.
And again, on top of that, Volibear recently received some buffs in the most recent patch, 13.9. Do you have any off the top of your head?
Increased W healing, I think, and I think one more on the W, but they're kind of minor. What we did see on Reddit, actually, the devs talked about how they don't want to they can't make Volibear top too strong, because he's really, really oppressive if he's too strong. You can't even sit on the tower against him, because his ult disables the tower, so you have nowhere safe. And so Volibear snowballs, it is just so hard to play the game.
It is kind of tough as well, as Volibear isn't exactly in the best position. Feel like I don't see him played that frequently, or even in pro play at all. But you're right, I just pulled it up, and on his W, he has a heal ratio increased with the bonus damage he does has gone from 5 to 6% of his health. And then on top of that, his heal ratio has gone from a base of 7 to 8%. And then at the highest upgraded level, we're seeing going in from 13 to 16%, which I'd say is a pretty hefty increase.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. I don't know if it matter that much here into the Gragas. It makes him very hard to kill late game, but Aphelios probably still shreds him. And Gragas, I think, is actually quite a good pick here because you can just keep knocking away the Volibear, trying to stop him trading with this very uninteractive trading pattern. Silas, though, the mid lane pick into this Victor. Masana has also played Victor. That's the other thing I saw them on 2 weeks ago. Did really well. But Silas is an interesting pick here. Ults that you're looking at stealing are like Fire ult, Gragas ult, good setup. I don't know how good Milio ult is, though, to steal. I don't think it's good at all in this comp. So we're just looking at this as divers trying to get early pressure. Victor, mobile, makes it really hard for him to get away from J4 Silas, for example. And the same with the Aphelios. So
But once we see Volibear and Jarvan kind of get into action, again, we've got Silas to be able to pull himself into the combat as well. Their engage is through the roof. And champions like Aphelios and Victor are going to have a really hard time if they don't have good methods of peeling it off. And I think that's why we posed the question, does Victor using his cage to stun, is that enough to break away the engagements, as well as backed up with Gragas' explosive cask, maybe?
So I think that, not usually, but the big thing I'm looking at here is actually Milio's Q is really going to come in clutch here for trying to stop these engages. If you can Milio Q like a Jarvan flag drag or something, or you can go on a Silas E and just stop one part of this core group engaging, you probably have enough tools or enough damage to try and peel the rest. And that's where it's going to really struggle. So I think if they do get to late game, Milio will help them outrange, it will help them outdamage, it makes it hard. The cleanse really good into Morgana as well, I suspect. Just going, no, you can't Q someone. Bit less good into these knockups. J4, of course, nothing cleansable in the kit. Silas, not really anything cleansable. I think it's actually very similar to last game, where the Stormballs really need to get this early lead. They need to snowball bot lane and use the fact that they should have prior in almost every lane, at least early, the stronger jungle early, to snowball and take the map, get enough of a lead that they can't lose the game again. They don't run out of steam. And on the blue side, for the Knights, it's kind of the same thing as last game. They're just trying to not lose, and they just win if they outscale.
So, audience, don't forget to put in your final predictions, get some points down on whatever team you feel like's winning. And for now, I'm going to throw it to you, 6K, about just off these drafts and their performance on last game. How do you think this game is going to go?
I think I'm favoring the Knights here. I think their composition, again, especially in 9 to Plat, I prefer this kind of comp where you have to not lose rather than where you have to win, because I think it's easier to execute on. Consistently, I need to get the words clear. Salas especially is not the easiest champ to execute on. This Volibear, they really need to use this early brawling power. They need to be taking probably first Drake and first Herald, for example. But also, you have this crazy prior top, but you need to get this Caitlyn fed, so you need to be sitting a J4 bot, and you're just trying to keep Gragas in lane. It feels like they're trying to play around like 3 prior lanes or 2 prior lanes. And I don't know if they can do that. I think if you can stop one part of this getting ahead, maybe that's enough.
So is that a final assessment towards maybe the Knights?
I think the Knights are definitely my team I prefer, but I think there's a lot of worlds where the Stormwolves just do snowball and they just win.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page as you. I'm going for the Knights here just based off a successful performance in the last game, as well as Gragas being able to use that explosive cast to break the team apart. But on that, I think it's time for us to throw to a break. So we will see you guys on the Rift for the second game on the other side. Welcome back, everybody. It is game number 2, and it is non-stop shenanigans, as both teams decide to have a bit of a staring contest at each other from across the Yarra River. And again, we've just broken down both these team compositions. One heavy on engage, and one heavy keen on breaking away from the engagement. Me and 600, I was about to say 600k. I almost did it again. Look, guys, I swear backstage Mayhem's making fun of me, and I'm stuck in it now. It's like this one time I kept calling Renata's ultimate violent overhaul instead of hostile takeover, and I was just stuck on it for like a week. So anyways, moving on from that, 600k. Mate, how are you feeling about this bot lane?
I think this is kind of terrifying as if it was Milio. Milio is still not the greatest early as far as I'm aware. And Kate Mork, this classic early game, huge lane pressure. Every time you try to take a CS, you get punished. You might just die if you get hit by a Q. So we're going to have to see how this goes. Hamian starting bot side though. does mean we either might see an early gank or maybe we pop top side. If they're popping top side, that might be a bit awkward for this bot lane. I think first wave, I don't expect too much. It's really the second and a bit more ways once you have abilities. Expect things to keep going on.
Hopefully we see Kanabe keep control of his gun rotation this time, as unfortunately I think he let a little loose in the last one. Perhaps a bad fight kind of spun his rotation out of control. Something that happens a lot with the Fellows in competitive play is even pro players have moments where they're not completely around a champion. And we see that, I think, I can't remember who it was, but it was a mid laner who didn't know that you could hover your mouse over someone to choose who to Yasuo or in decent knockups. I remember seeing a clip or something like that. And they're a professional player at the highest level in the Korean League.
I think
so
that was BDD. It was BDD or it was Zeka. I think it might have been Zeka?
I think it was Zeka.
Yeah, it would have been Zeka.
Yeah, either way, Zeka brought something like that up. And something I've actually heard being mentioned around the world in a lot of competitions, a lot of people are playing Fellows because he's good. And they learn his basic gun rotations, get the fundamentals down. And there's no taking away from how much work the pro players put in. They put in so many hours on League. And sometimes you're put in a spot where you can't or recover, or it's very difficult to recover from a bad Aphelios gun rotation because maybe you've accidentally spent all your ammo in a team fight or something. Flash now being burnt out from the mid lane. And that kind of leads to scenarios where people don't know how to get back on track with their gun rotations, which is a really funny thing to happen in such high level of play. But it's quite complex to know every single rotation you have to go through because the order changes based on what you use. It's very confusing. And that might be what we saw happen with Kanabe, and it's very hard to keep control of.
Actually, I guess we're not seeing a play bot side. This is the downside of direct camera. Actually.
Okay, never mind. Vi's gonna come back in. Locks the force to burn flash, but the root coming down from Kanabe. Perfect timing for the first kill of the game.
Yeah, just actually a really good gank there. And that's the opposite of what you want to Stormwolves. That's the thing that you can't have happen. It's like the number one. Your two list this game is one, get Caitlyn and Morgana ahead. And then two is everything else. So that first blood going over to the Aphelios as well, not to like the support, not to the jungler, makes this lane so much harder for them. But in lane, Meatbun getting his flash forced out. This is the power of the Volibear lane. Hamyan, they might just go for these repeat ganks on mid. Maybe they were just expecting this bot lane to be the standalone, which is really interesting and not really something you see usually with Caitlyn.
Meatbun getting pressure from top. And now we see, as you mentioned, backstage that why Top is a Volibear main. Mate, he knows how this champion works, how it runs, and how to get those solo bolos against probably the biggest alcoholic in all of Runeterra.
Yeah, I think he definitely is the biggest alcoholic. Does anyone else even have anything related to alcohol?
I don't think so.
Probably. I don't know, I'll think about it and then give the results later. But yeah. And this is the opposite of what you can have happen. And it's Megon actually going for this first strike build, which with the Mana Crystal, which likely means that it's going to be an AP Gragas instead of the tank Gragas I was expecting. And I think AP Gragas actually makes this game a lot harder to play out than a potential tank Bruisers type Gragas, where maybe your Abyssal Mask could. So we'll have to see how it goes, but I am a bit concerned for this top lane now, especially this wave crashing. Top might be able to freeze it, and that's just going to make it very hard.
I actually wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. And Top, again, with the increased damage on his W, we see it coming down. It is disgusting on Volibear. And with the Sheen in hand as well, pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, I think you just can't play this as the Gragas. Like, you expect to lose this lane, but it really feels like not even that much health. They got the flash out early, and it's just going to keep snowballing from there. This frees up this J4 to keep ganking mid. We're seeing so many plays here. I think it's another play, in fact, being lined up onto this mid lane, onto this Victor here from Hamyan.
Hamyan wants to come down, but doesn't have the Cataclysm, so kind of ends up in nothing, I guess. Either way, we take a look down here to the bot lane once again, where Xerxes already being picked up here by Kanabe. Also is steadily ticking down on that Cull, and Caitlyn, who's supposed to have lead in lane. Never mind, Karina wants to go under this tower. Forced to run away as the Chaos Storm drops. And that was the last of Masana's mana as well, barely keeping them alive.
Yeah, did Masana use Chaos Storm? I don't think Masana used Chaos
Oh,
Storm.
hold on, what? No, I
Yeah,
swear.
It was
I guess
it was the Silas stolen off.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I was like, huh? No, whoops.
Masana,
Thank
if
you.
Masana had mana there, Karina's just dead. You see, this first Drake gonna start getting taken. They won't be able to steal it. Hamyan walking. I'm gonna start up because I'm not the cup.
There's to play by play habits, bro. Don't worry, man.
Yeah, it's so hard. Other than
Whenever I
that,
get put on color caster, I struggle too. It leaps out of you.
yeah. The first Drake going over is really big. I feel for the side of.
Whoa, that's a lot of Caitlyn damage flying out. Kanabe gonna return the favor though, as Loxo loses out on the shield, and Kanabe refuses to take any damage. But there we go. We see Morgana. The root just lasts too long. And now with Hamyan coming down, it should be a double here. If timed right, no flash on the Aphelios. Hamyan shouldn't be able to fumble this one. Needs the red Q to heal up. He's going to be able to take down the enemy jungler. As now top thrown under the tower here by Meatbun. Does get the kill despite the tower going down. And a triple kill from Kanabe as our camera's flown back into a massacre.
That's Aphelios for you. It's 200 years, I guess. Bit more now. But wow, and top lane, top getting a bit too greedy, taking too many turret shots before disabling it, and it just kind of getting solo killed in lane is not what you want as Volibear, and getting the triple kill. This Aphelios is 4-0 before 8 minutes.
Yeah, I think this game
Like,
is over, bro.
this Caitlyn needed to get ahead. This is where the Caitlyn needs to be, not where the Aphelios can be. And Milio, we saw some good play, but that was almost a 1v3. Like, Saki there, only out of the fight so early, and then the Aphelios slow just runs at them. White gun, you can't fight it early, able to get melee range, and it just shreds them.
Wow. Well, Aphelios had the red and the white up, one of his best combinations in the game, and used it pretty effectively. He had the chance. I'm actually not sure if he hit 6 in that fight because the camera kind of swiveled away from us.
Don't believe so, no.
The top fight.
The ult's up, so.
Yeah, the ult is up, so he probably didn't get the chance to use it. So with just his Qs alone and his guns, he managed to turn a fight around from pretty much a 1v3 where he's on no health into a triple kill on his hands, and now 4-0, has Noonquiver back in lane, has a crit cloak, and his Cull almost finished as well. This lane is not going to be fun for Caitlyn.
Yeah, this is. And we got Ripped Held as well, Sharky taking it. So, as I was saying, the Stormwolves, they need to get these early objectives, they need to get their bot lane fed. It's the opposite's happening. It's a 2,000 gold lead here, the Knights. They have this Ripped Held, they've taken first Drake. This is just kind of disaster.
Oh, Karina gonna get shot down here by Sharky after making a pretty decent engage. And Silas, he is going to be faced with the enemy Chaos Storm this time. Masana's walked up way too far though here, and has the Cataclysm to lock them down. Grand challenge going on inside the pit as Hamyan's going to make it away. Has the shield up, and Sharky is going to blow away the enemy jungler, giving them quite a substantial gold lead there.
Yeah, a bit greedy there from Masana, but it's a 1-for-1, so you're still kind of fine with it. Go onto the map. This is just a disaster for the Stormwolves. I don't even know what they do. Oh, now they've moved Aphelios mid before 10 minutes to get this first Herald plates onto him. And that's just so much gold being funneled into this Aphelios. It's just, this is a disaster. If he gets his first mythics so early, I don't know how you beat it. It's just, these divers, if you're trying to run an Aphelios, Aphelios is so good into Volibear if you can't get on him. Because he just gets this white gun going, and you're taking so much damage, and you can't catch him.
You feel like Volibear should be leagues ahead, but he's actually been solo killed by Meatbun after getting a bit too greedy. The lead is taken, and despite having the Sheen up, he couldn't control the lane. And you said before that Riot doesn't want to buff Volibear too much, because when he gets ahead in lane, he is incredibly oppressive, especially with Stormbringer. Like, he just stuns the tower, kills you, and you sit there and cry about it. Volibear doesn't get the chance to take the lead, and even though he has a jungler up, Meatbun refuses to start an engagement here.
Yeah, although, actually...
Oh, here he comes. Doesn't have Cataclysm up. He doesn't even auto-attack him, actually. He just says hi and leaves.
Hamyan keeps missing these, like, flag and drags, it feels like. And it's so hard to get gankstering this Jarvan if you miss your engaged CC because you've used 2 abilities, you have nothing left. So, and
wait, what is Jarvan's third ability? Is that shield he gets, right? I know it's a silly question.
It got buffed a ton, to be fair. It got buffed a ton.
Yeah.
It's like, based on how many people are around you. Does it deal damage now? I don't remember. It does something new. it slows them and you get a big shield increase that scales. They've made it scale as bonus 80. That's what it is. So it's now a huge shield. But yeah, it's like it's not an ability for ganking. It doesn't help you kill people.
Sharky is now in place for the objective here, as Hamyan's pretty much given up the dragon. Knowing that his team doesn't have enough gold or enough kills to come and contest this objective, the second one will be steadily handed over to the Knights as well. Having a Aphelios on their side with 4 kills just off a Mythic at 12 minutes into the game is going to make this one a really tough one to combat. Look, they've got the dragon taken away. Wouldn't be surprised to see Aphelios pick up his Mythic on the next back. Does Aphelios ever go Kraken, or is it normally a Gale Force build we're seeing?
You can go Kraken, but Gale Force I think is so strong here, especially but stopping this engage. This is like a peak Gale Force game almost, because none of this engage is point and click either.
That's right, so the Gale Force should be very, very handy, especially the fact the Vi's on the other team and not going to cease and desist you and make you cry. Roa finally picked up here by Karina, and Mythics are finally starting to trickle in. We've seen 2 Roas now, one on Gragas, which I gotta say, I seldom see, and then Divine Sunder are locked in on Vi and Volibear. So, pretty similar picks popping up across the board. Look how disgusting that Caitlyn is. Getting damage down across from the other side of the jungle wall is going to go down in exchange for their crimes. Morgana next on the list, as Kanabe's damage is just spiraling out of control. Going to get locked down here by Hamyan. Shut down going to Jarvan, and Karina wants to continue this fight. Does have Chaos Storm up. Isn't going to drop it just yet, and keeps the fight going as Karina steals the ult, drops it down, has the Morgana to back them up, and look how dangerous this Silas is. Yeah, Masana still going to keep going, and it's a bit of a wet noodle right now as the stopwatch comes out, and finally we see Masana go down in the hands of Karina.
That was a 2 for 4 at the end, I think.
That was a weird fight, man.
That's what you need is the Storm Wolves. Now they have a fed Silas. That was really the best timing they had. Aphelios hadn't gotten to back yet, didn't have the Mythic, and they were a bit overextended. So a good punish there. Masana just not able to make this kills walk on the victor either. Silas Dover coming in right in time. Great roam from Karina. And actually Cat on Steroid surviving because of the perfect timing route coming in. Other than that, that's what you want, but there's still like 1.5k gold down. They still don't have any Drakes, and they don't have much map control. So this is still awkward. I guess the way they want to snowball off of this is you have to keep getting the Silas to the fights. You need to be keeping on taking these skirmishes, because as we've just seen, you can win them. Victor doesn't really do much in these skirmishes at this point in the game, and the Aphelios, he's fed, but it's not enough to like 1v4. So
it's going to be really difficult for this Aphelios to come back. Oh, not even come back, sorry, to take control of the game. And what that's going to come down to is Sharky and Meat Bun turning into walls of meat to keep Kanabe alive. But there's so much engage, especially now that Silas and Jarvan are ahead. Like that shutdown that just came down on Kanabe was in the Jarvan's hands, which is so strong. He's got Gore Drinker, his sustain flying through. And now, I mean, it's a 2,000 gold lead into the hands of the Knights facing up against Stormwolves, which is steadily climbing. We've seen the lead remain pretty similar for the duration of the game, and Stormwolves actually have been closing this gap quite steadily.
Yeah, and I guess if we're looking at like the individual gold leads, we've got a fight at Herald and
Vi's going to get the smite down. Hamyan trying to keep her away from the eye. The rest of the team assisting now. The cease and desist over the wall. Hamyan, it looks like going to go for the Caitlyn now. The Cataclysm comes out. She manages to dash away as the wall falls down. The rest of the team, the Q misses. And now it looks like Stormwolves decide to come in for this fight. Hamyan flies in on no health. And Karina comes down to match it as well. The Chaos Storm may be raining down on top of the Vi. Finally disappearing with the demise of the Silas. There's Rift Arrow drops down, and now we're going to see the demise of the mid tower.
Yeah, and a great task there from Meat Bun on the bit of the edges of the fight. Catches out 2, I think it would have killed Hamyan maybe? And then gets a double kill there. And so they win that side of the fight. The Aphelios does die, but it doesn't really matter in the end. If all your resources have been committed to it, you're split up. And now it wasn't a 2v4, it wasn't a 3v4 parts, it was the full 5 versus 5. And that's when their combat specialized. And let's see in Inhibitor, they might just take this in. This Inhibitor turret is going to fall at 16 minutes into the game.
And a charge too. Wow, far out. Volibear gets a Stormbringer down as Sharky's even the one overextended, and maybe he's brought himself to his grave in exchange for getting a third Rift Herald charge. a little bit dangerous, but certainly worth the gold they just gained from that. Bringing that 2,000 gold lead we were looking at earlier now to 5,000 winning that fight.
Yeah, I think not to put out, but the next Drake's up in 30 seconds. It's a Chemtech Rift, as I can tell by looking at the Rift and not by my objective timers. Thank you, Riot. But yeah, Chemtech Rift. Chem's obviously been buffed. It's still considered pretty generally the weakest soul, and for good reason. It only gives you buffs if you're below half health. But it might be about actually, it's the Storm Wolves picking up this Drake.
Wow.
Maybe help them. These are really good.
Quite a turn of opportunity as Karina's going to dash over the wall, wanting to shut down this Milio now, as the Moonlight Vigil still being held and Store not dropped down. Don Silas, who has potentially overextended and not been punished for it. And one of the reasons we're not seeing this dragon being taken probably by the Knights is that Vi is constantly pinging her ping, that she's going between 100 and 151. So maybe that's a bit of a complication we're seeing.
Yeah, and I also think the other big thing was that Sakura, this Milio, not enough health. Just not enough mana. Was completely out of mana. You can't really do anything as an enchanter, especially without mana. So it would have just been a 45. They didn't have people there in time, and their comp will struggle, I feel, at times to get into an already set up situation, because they kind of have to brute force engages with Vi and Gragas. You need to hit a cask, or you need to hit something else. But if they're not there first, it's a lot harder to get that vision, to get those engages being confident. What I do want to say though is that on the other side of the map, they can set up for not the second field, they can set up for a topside play. Looks like.
Oh, here we go. Volibear has Stormbringer to get away from the fight. Another very handy usage of that Volibear ultimate. As the rest of the team coming to look for a collapse, do they know that the other Stormwolves are waiting just around the corner? Probably with enough vision. Also, just want to give a quick shout out to Envious of Me for the wonderful raid bringing in. Hi, everyone. And now the gold lead still steadily staying at about 5,000. The next dragon still a while away, but the Baron now on a steady timer, which almost should be just handed over to the Knights if they play their next fight correctly.
Yeah, I don't think they can go for it on spawn, but if they win the next fight, they'll have it. Abe here, purple, blue, this is a good gun combo, this is what you want. Obviously not great at objectives, and Karina slightly pushing, but the Sephiroth is still fed, it's still a threat even if it's disappeared a bit. We hit the 2-item spike, that's I think when you can start like aggressively pushing for Baron. Still then, like Lockstone on this Caitlyn is just doing nothing. There's really not much coming from this Caitlyn, so you're relying on Karina picking up the new Cosmic Drive. Have you seen this? Have you seen the new Cosmic Drive?
No, new Cosmic Drive? No, I am completely out of the loop. Meatbun tries to find something here on the Morgana, who, may I note, has yet to pick up a mythic item. Flash forward into the explosive cask means the support will go down, and maybe has a chance to get her mythic now, please?
She's going Sonya's.
Well, either way, doesn't even have an item.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to it. I think, seeing it play topside.
Okay, here we go. Top now looking like they're in a bit of danger. Ian, maybe the point of target right now is Top desperately trying to jump on this support. But even with that damage coming through from Aphelios, he has no chance to jump here on the poor Milio. And Messi is going to make a breakaway now. Man, I swear that guy, Milio's too good at kicking around soccer balls. He's in the wrong game, bro.
Yeah, it's really good. And we actually saw a really good punish of the fact that Volibear's ultimate cooldown is so long. Meatbun got to use his ult, they traded it last time, and then Meatbun used the ult on the pick on Cat on steroids in this Morgana, and Top still didn't have the ult up to get away in the top side. And so now they're going to start Baron here, they should be able to take it, although it's a lot of damage. But it will be fine. Now Red-White getting, that's a perfect gun rotation.
Ideal gun rotation now coming out, but it won't even be contested here by the Stormwolves as they get to steadily take down this Baron. No one in range to steal. Baron now locked in, objective bounties flying up. But I very much expect to see the Knights making a heavy siege from now on, especially with the advantage they have.
Yeah, the Knights want to go reset their vision, get their vision onto this bot side, where actually the Stormwolves have a huge amount of vision in the Knights' bottom side quadrant. And they want to set up this Drake. The Knights should be able to get here in time, obviously. Baron will help them push it out. And then they'll be able to probably push it out just in time to then set up the Drake. So the big cost, though, is that if they do set up this Drake, and they try to take it on spawn, they will have a lot less pressure off of this Baron. The waves will be able to be cleared by the Stormwolves, who should give this Drake up if the Knights do attempt to go for it. You should not be trying to challenge this. It's not a fight you win.
Now, you wanted to talk about the Cosmic Drive. There were changes to that, Adam?
So, those who haven't played recently, with last patch, Cosmic Drive went from being 3 attacks in quick succession, and you got a bunch of AP and a bunch of, like, ability case and move speed. It's now damaging a champion generates a stack of move speed every 1.5 seconds, the next, like, 5 seconds, up to 10%. And then if you have 4 stacks, it's like 5 seconds later, or so, like 6 seconds later, you get an extra 10% movement speed. It means it's 20% move speed. With the base 5%, that's 25% movement speed. It gets max stacks. So you're very fast. It's very good for chasing people down.
Whoa, okay. Well, with the chase down that Karina has now, that is going to make it a little dangerous. But something else to point out is the Lich Bane has also been bought here from Victor, which we can get to in just a moment here. Even though Stormwolves, they want to contest this next Chemtech Dragon, perhaps trying to claim them all for themselves. Now the smite coming down from Vi means that Ian and Meatbunner had a chance to get that explosive cast down once again. Meatbunner's going to bully that poor Morgana as top forced to break away. Stormbreaker still in hand as Karina is going to be the next target on the hit list. Kanabe now chasing him down. Maybe this Cosmic Drive will come in handy, running away. The heal not enough from the Silas. The damage not enough from the Stormwolves. And now the third Chemtech Drag and Chemtech Soul in the Chemtech Soul point in the hands of the Knights.
Yep, that's why I didn't want to see the Stormwolves fight that Drake if they went for it. Just push out the waves, make it harder for them to go for this, because now they're threatening the bottom inhibitor turret. And you've got people dead, you can't really defend this. Well, if you hadn't fought that Drake, you have less people dead, and this inhibitor turret's probably still up, because they don't have the wave. Jackie Banning will be playing Veloxter in mid, but I think this might just be a dead Caitlyn.
Trying to escape the Chaos Storm, uses the E, gets the trap down, but the lightning strikes are going to end Caitlyn as she is... Oh, well, I mean, Frankenstein got brought back to life with lightning. So maybe if we wait 30 seconds, Caitlyn will come back to life.
If she was a zombie, it would help, but I think she's already alive, and Frankenstein was not alive before he got hit by lightning.
Well, so, you know what? I do have good news, is she actually still is going to come back to life in 20 seconds. So.
Yeah. Maybe she gets hit by lightning a second time.
Anyways, back to the Lich Bane we were talking about. That also got changes in the most recent patch as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it's just got 10 more AP. It's really nothing special.
Oh, look, 10 AP is pretty good, hey? I'll take it.
So, yeah, the issue with the item has always been that it's really hard to fit into these, like, really strict build paths. So it's not Void Star, it's not Death Cap, it's not your Mythic, and it's not Zhonya's. And, like, it's just... And it's not Shadow Flame either. Building it second, it scales so much off of AP that maybe it's fine. We've seen it on Victor a bit, but it's an item that you don't really want to be building early, but you can't really fit into your build lane. And that's, I feel like, why it hasn't been picked up. It is good in Victor though, obviously, and especially if you have a bunch of gold, I think it's just fine here. And it's also really easy to use because you're not being outranged. Usually one of the issues is Victor with like Void Staff is that you're not going to get, not Void Staff, Lich Bane, that you're not getting into range consistently to get a lot of procs off it. Because it also actually has a lower cooldown than the other Sheen items. It's 1.5 seconds versus 2.5. Play here? No, fine. But yeah, but into this comp, they are diving you. You get so many Lich Bane procs.
And look at this, it's just ARAM. Knights have been walking down the mid lane as we've been speaking, taking the inhibitor turret uncontested, and nobody from Stormwolves can even walk up. Look, they just get it, they walk away. How nice is that? Now, pressure being placed down 25 minutes into the game. So, for the next 4 minutes, they've pretty much got control over every single objective. Mid-wave is going to be constantly pushing up, and with the bottom inhibitor gone as well, they're looking towards the third in the top lane.
Yep. This is just kind of a stomp, honestly. It really went the exact opposite of how the Stormwolves needed it to go. And they're going to get outscaled. They're trying to send people to side lanes, but they don't have like the same as last game where you had top on this Lee Sin who had gotten a bit of a lead in some form.
Nah, Caitlyn's way too far up here.
Oh,
way too far up. The cease and desist comes down. The trap placed in the right spot, but isn't going to be enough to let Caitlyn get away as 2 kills come down onto the bot lane. And this pretty much spells the end of the game. Now, 11 kills up on the enemy team. Knights, they are 1 point away from getting the soul. They can take Baron anytime they want. They are almost 10,000 gold ahead of the other team. And now they're fighting in between turrets with a volley bear. So, I don't think there's much more to say besides that this game is pretty much spelt to end.
Yeah, Meat Bun, like, quietly last game, I think it was Hamyan on the Wukong. This game, it's a 7-1 Gragas. He has 3 items, super fed, it's doing so much damage. We're just seeing it one-shot everyone, and they don't really have the ability to stop it. So, it's very, very hard for the Stormwolves to play this game. They've gotten outscaled much earlier than they needed to. They don't have map control. They're down 10k gold. The biggest way back in is going to have to be they get a pick, they get some kind of wombo combo. Jarvan ult, always an option. If you get like Jarvan ult, Volleyball, that's a bunch of damage. Maybe you steal a Victor ult as well. And maybe that's enough damage? But even then, I feel like this comp doesn't really have that kind of capability. So, it will be a struggle. Baron up, just setting up for it. Ardent Sensor here, picked up by this Milio though. Yeah, how do you feel about that item?
Look, bro, hey, this is a little awkward. I feel like I don't know anything about support item. Maybe
I don't either.
you can do a bit of educating here.
Yeah, so Ardent Sensor obviously giving AD. It's not really an item we see all that much. I think it's great here because you have the Felios. But, I don't know. GA third from, though, yeah, from a, that's...
Well, either way, I'm going to reinstate how much this game means to both of these teams. Because don't forget, it is week number 5 of this tournament, which is the last week right now of the group stages. We've been playing round robins, and both of these teams are teetering on the edge of victory or defeat. So winning this game really could spell the difference for both of them. And losing this means you're kicked out of the playoffs. Winning this means you may qualify for the playoffs. But I think we've just had other games being played outside of this one, obviously, at the same time. And we may just about, with the end of this game, have our bracket decided. Now, Knights walking up on the last 2 towers that are keeping the Stormwolves inside the MCOM Iron to Plat competition, shattering down both of these towers. Steadily, those Baron minions are doing a whole lot of damage. Inhibitor now
I want to say one
going
thing.
down.
The Knights are currently undefeated in sets.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go. There you go.
So,
it makes a little bit more sense here. As now top, Sharky gonna look for the engage on top of him. As the turret, first one goes down. Now, Hamyan wants to jump in, gets the Cataclysm down here. Ian, he's gonna get 8s in the hole, and the support still refuses to go down after getting dashed into the enemy team. Stormbreaker raining down from above. As top is gonna be the third victim. Now going down from the Storm Wolves, and the entire team off the map. Luxor stuck inside the fountain. Last game of the night, last game of our group stages, and this Nexus is just about to shatter, sending the Knights, as you said, 6k into the playoffs undefeated. What a way to finish the game. 6k,
Yeah.
that's quite the sweep here coming out the Knights. Stormwolf, where did they go wrong in that game? It felt like, to me, they're Felios at the very start of the game. I mean, 4-0. Oh, what are you supposed to do?
yeah, I think they went wrong everywhere. Obviously, the Felios getting a lead lane, a killing lane isn't ideal, but that triple kill bot lane where he just like 1v3'd, I think it's reasonable to be like, hey, we can kill him, he's overextended, right? And then you can't. Yeah. But yeah. Also, Meat Bun, Gragas, really good damage. Other than that, though, although, is it enough?
Yeah, well, look,
Yeah.
we saw a lot of damage here coming out from the Knights. They've done a really fantastic job overall, and seeing Gragas do the most damage is pretty funny, seeing as even though Aphelios got 4-0, had the chance to rampage in the early game, Meat Bun, maybe the MVP of the team. I mean, who do you think you'd hand it off to, personally, 6k? Look, for me, man, the first game, Masana really shone through, but it's got to go to Meat Bun again with the most damage, going 9-1-5 this game, and in the last game being pretty much the center of the entire team. It's kind of hard to look away from the impact that Meat Bun's having as the main tank, and in this game, doing a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, I think it's got to go to Meat Bun. Game 1 on the Poppy, bit of a rough start, but pulled it back, played really well frontline, found these really good picks, and actually kind of made that fight that got the Knights back into the game, got them a tempo lead happen. Mid lane turret, and then this game just completely dominating lane. Got killed once in lane, and then got the kill back, and it just kept going from there. Just completely unstoppable. AP, Bruiser, Gragas, not dying outside of that first kill, and dealing so much damage, winning so many team fights, hitting every cask.
Well, There it is. End of our night. Storm Wolves have put in a pretty fantastic performance playing up against the best team in the competition so far, going undefeated. They put in a great effort, but Knights have taken away the game 2-0. Are there any final statements you'd like to make, 6K?
This is really impressive from the Knights, I think. They've played these comps and survived early game, but I do worry a bit if they don't get through these early games. I've seen them come back from 7K gold lead. They did it 2 weeks, a 7K gold down. They've actually done that. They did it 2 weeks ago. But I do worry a bit that it feels like these games were more the Storm Wolves to lose. They didn't play these early games well enough. And the Knights did great at doing that, but they're obviously one of the best teams. I just think I'm really interested to see if we do have a team that can challenge this ability for them to just survive the early game.
Well, with that, I'd like to give a big thank you to our broadcaster Mayhem for putting a fantastic show for all of us behind the scenes, to our admins for doing a wonderful job. That's White Nico and Blazem, and any of the other ones in case I missed them. And all of you guys for coming in to watch the show. Congratulations to both of the teams. A big thank you to MCOM for making all of this possible, and 6K for standing by my side throughout the night. You've done an awesome job, mate. Thanks for joining me, especially as a color caster.
Yeah, it was nice casting. I don't think I've casted Quicksand before, actually. So, really fun. Great job. Really welcoming, because as most people know, obviously not a color caster. And yeah, just good experience. Also, shout outs to Razy for running MCOM, obviously.
That's right. Yeah, Razy, the GOAT. Well, either way, thanks for coming along tonight, everyone. Don't forget our playoffs will be starting as soon as possible, as well as this Sunday we have our Challenger League coming in, so stay tuned for that. A lot of really exciting stuff coming in. I'll be hosting. I think we've got Weapon and we've got Pike casting, if not anyone else coming in, maybe to substitute. But pretty exciting cast we've got lined up. Don't know who's behind the scenes, but stay tuned for this Sunday. Stay on the Discord for some more information. Besides that, everyone have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. And the day after. Look, mate, I wish you guys wonderful lives. I will see you soon enough, though. So, thank you all for coming, and I'll see you all on Sunday. Bye, guys.